Hi, everyone, and welcome to the special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and Talk Nutrition to Me with our host, Kelly Springer. Kelly, how are you? And I know you're excited about our guest.
I am so excited. Today we have a very special guest, Dara Lee, a passionate health advocate who believes in improving your well-being, especially as we age. Should be empowering, exciting, and most importantly, achievable. Dara knows firsthand how an overwhelming health journey can feel, which is why she dedicated her life to purpose, passion, and pint-sized steps to create life of full energy and pizzazz. In this episode, Dara shares her best insights on breaking free from yo yo dieting, easy and delicious plant based meals, boosting energy naturally, and developing a balanced approach to food. Whether you're looking for a simple yet impactful change to your daily routine, seeking practical tips to stay on track, Dara's got you covered. So let's jump in and start your health journey. And here we go.
Some really interesting things, Kelly, that you want to learn from Dara and talk about.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
And I find that just eating real food is what fuels me and when I feel my best, when I am totally off, and you understand this, Kelly, 100%, right? Totally
Yeah.
off those highly processed foods and just eating real food. That's what I do.
It's funny, Darlie, because we were just going through and podcast names and all of this. And years ago, about 12 years ago, we trademarked, "We are real people promoting real food." And it's been our tagline from the very beginning of starting this company. And we still to this day have real people, real dietitians doing just that. So, yes, I 100% agree with you. And I think I want to dive into the plant forward because I try to explain this when I'm on webinars that the majority of the plate, if even if you look at myplate.gov, or it's all plant forward. This is not some revolutionary type of thinking. This is a way that we've been eating forever. And like you, I do incorporate animal protein with it, but the 75% of the plate should be coming from plants. And that's plant forward, that's plant based.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I subscribe to. That's what I teach people. And if you can look at your plate, and like you said, about a quarter of that should be your lean protein, right? And the rest of it, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, just fill it up with color. And then that you don't have to think about what you're eating then. You don't have
Yes.
to think about counting calories or any of that, right? You just fill it up with plants and you're good to go.
We are 100% in line. And a lot of times you're not sure. And with our corporation, we're going to be doing some sensitivity training because we really are reaching people wherever they're at, whatever they are trying to do. People are, they're trying to be healthy. There's a lot of myths and confusion out there. So, how do you break through some of those if someone comes to you with one of those wackadoo ideas? What do you do with that?
Okay. I help people one of the things that I do, and I do this often in my group, is I challenge people to eat 30 different plants throughout the week. And when I first say it, it blows their mind. You're kidding. Like, how can I do that? But when you really try and really pay attention to what you're eating, one thing I recommend is those mixed greens. You get probably 7 or 8 different plant foods in those boxes of already mixed greens, right? So you're really ahead of the game right there. And then I recommend people go through the produce department and find something that you've never eaten before. We all have a world of knowledge right here on our phones, right? Look it up, find a recipe for it, and figure out what it is. I often pick up different plant foods that I've never eaten and I just Google it and figure out how to eat it. Some I like, some I don't, but you just try something new. And that's what I encourage people to do.
You
I
know,
love it.
yeah.
That's really fun. Go ahead, Neil.
No, I was going to say it's the work involved that sometimes Kelly and I were talking about on another podcast. It's the work involved that why people aren't eating fruits and vegetables every day and stuff like that. They think it's work,
Yeah.
and you try to make it not work.
Yes. So there is a little bit of work involved. Let's not fool ourselves, right? There is some planning involved, and sometimes, but what I really try to teach people is when you start reading labels on the boxes and you see what's in all of this packaged food, we need to get away from that. And I start simple. A lot of times I help people transform their breakfast. That seems to be a good place to start instead of the bacon and eggs and on a hard roll kind of thing. Let's see, can we do a good fruit and vegetable smoothie in the morning? Can we do oatmeal? And don't just make plain oatmeal. Add some fruit, add some nuts, add some seeds. Do you like dried fruits, dates, whatever? You just mix it up and make it a little exciting so that it's not, I'm not talking about the little package that you add the hot
Yeah,
water to. That's not oatmeal. Real oats.
I love it. And I think, like you said, when you start breaking it down, it's not that difficult. Because I was just thinking back as you said that to my lunch. And I was just saying, I had a tuna fish sandwich, but we are really lucky. And we live in an area where we have a WeWorks, and this is where my office is. So there's a restaurant here that promotes all real food, which we're so
Mm.
lucky. But the tuna fish sandwich that I had cut up celery in it. On top had slices of cucumber, tomato, carrots. It's on whole grain. It's served with a fruit. So it's interesting, like just there alone, the variety that we had in that one half sandwich.
Yeah. And how delicious is that? That's so much more delicious than just tuna on
I
a
know.
white bread.
I know. So I think it does take a little bit of education and coaching. So how do you go about doing that?
I typically meet with people one-on-one online and just find out what is it that you're eating, what are you really struggling with, and we go there. My background, I'm a special ed teacher, was my background. So individualizing things that's like my ninja power right there. And I just help people wherever they're at and start making those tiny changes. Because I find that if I tell people you've got to change everything, it's too overwhelming. Let's just start. Like you said, maybe it's their lunches that they're, instead of buying lunch at the local deli, let's see, what can you make to bring with you for your lunches? And we just start small and just keep adding to it.
I think having your background in special education probably lends itself so perfectly to this of going slow and making those small changes. So it's interesting. I love people's stories, and part of this podcast is getting to know people, but that's really interesting. And you've had your own health journey, correct?
Yes, for sure. I have lost 50 pounds and kept it off. That's the key because I've lost weight before, but I've kept it off for over a year now. And I do have another 20 or so pounds that I want to get rid of, but I know that I'm going to get there. But the key is that I've kept it off and it's not really a struggle. When I used to go on diets, I had to pay attention to everything that I was eating. Is it enough calories? It's too many carbs or whatever. No, I'm just eating whole foods. Does it mean that, sure, every once in a while we indulge and have a pizza? Of course, we have to live, but it's like once every 2 months, maybe we'll have a pizza. It's not every Friday night, let's call for pizza. You have to make those changes. You have to look at where and I think this is really key for people, Kelly, is to really get a good understanding of their why. Like, why do they want to be healthy? Why do they want to lose the weight? For me, I know I want to continue to play with my grandchildren. I can now ski with my grandchildren and just play with them in the summer and run around and just have a good time, which I wasn't able to do 50 pounds heavier. I was sitting down after 5 minutes of playing with them.
I think
That's the key.
why I think that's huge. It came up on a podcast that we did earlier about the why. And it came up when I was at my entrepreneur group last week about the why. And I think maybe that brings us more into the present moment of where we are and what we're trying to achieve. It doesn't matter if it's work or eating or whatever it is. And if people thought, why am I eating this food or why am I doing this exercise more often? We would definitely be more present.
For
So,
sure.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a journey, as you talked
yeah.
about. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. And you're going to have slip ups, but at least you're making starting to make the right choices. And your body's going to thank you for it. And not just your body, like stomach and losing weight, it's your brain, your
Mm.
energy, everything.
And I'm interested to know, how did you, because you did years of yo-yo dieting, what was the switch?
I've studied nutrition just on my own for years. I've always had this passion for nutrition, and I did end up with high blood pressure. And I said, oh my gosh, let me look at what I'm eating. That's when I actually went to the more plant-based diet because I wanted to get off the saturated fats and all of that. And so that was really key to me. And I was only on meds for a very short time, about 3 months. I was able to turn that around because it had just started. I caught it right away. And now I don't really even, like I said before, I don't have to think about what I'm eating. I've just embraced this. This is what I eat. I don't want to eat chemicals and artificial colors and artificial flavors. I just want to eat real food because I know how good I feel. I know how much energy I have. And yeah, so that really works for me.
I love that you said that. I just presented earlier today and someone asked about chemicals and artificial sweeteners. And I said, please just get chemicals out. The fact that red dye number 3 was pulled out and people were like having conversation. I'm like, aren't we just glad? Don't we just want to move to real food? I'm like, that's my stance as well. And as I said, as much as possible, you just want to consume actual food versus non-food items.
Yes, absolutely. I agree 100% on that.
I think we are 100% in line. I'm so glad that you're staying healthy and feeling great, down 50 pounds. That is so much weight off of your knees and your back and everything else as well. And just staying healthy. And your message is definitely contagious.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's one step people can do today?
One step they can do today, I think, is to start reading labels. There's the big thing. Understand what's in the food that you're eating. And if you don't understand how to read labels, reach out to somebody, reach out to me, reach out to Kelly, reach out to someone who understands what happens when we don't eat real food and what happens when we do eat real food, because that's really the key.
Perfect tip. Perfect tip. Oh, you've been a fantastic guest. I'm so glad we were able to do this and I get to know you now. And I hope this inspires a lot of people. Start turning over those boxes and cans, look to see what you're getting. And you can also put it back.
Yes, you sure.
So where can we find you?
You can find me mostly on Facebook, Dara Lee Simmons. I do a Meatless Monday live every Monday night at 6 p.m. Yes. And yep. So that's where I am, mostly on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn, but mostly Facebook.
That's fantastic. I'm going to incorporate our guests as well and our clients to see if they can get on your Monday because that's fantastic. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you again. All right. That was a special simulcast of Neil Haley Show and Talk Nutrition.